Everybody to the session. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. As of now, I cannot see anybody's live, but in any case, let's quickly confirm before we begin whether you can see and hear me clearly. Let's begin on that note. And in the meantime, let me quickly tell you what we're going to take up today. We will discuss ways and means as to how do we approach parajumbles, right? I hope all of you are familiar with what we mean by parajumbles. Parajumble, in fact, do not be misled by the name. It is not rearrangement of paragraphs. It is rearrangement of sentences to form a logical paragraph. Now, the term parajumbles is something which is what the entire industry uses, so the name has actually stuck, right? So so far nobody is live. Anyway, I hope people will slowly join. People will slowly join. I'm not really sure about not really sure about who all are going to be present and absent. That's beside the question. Okay, so before I begin with anything else, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Sanoujam Singh, and I have taken classes for people like you for the past 17 plus years. I started teaching in 2003, and that was right after I finished my masters, and my area of expertise is English and critical reasoning. By the way, when it comes to CAT, English and critical reasoning are in fact one and the same, because even in the passages you are required to do that, right? So I hope all of you would be able to, all of you can see and hear me clearly, right? Okay, so let's see. And before we take up anything, if you enjoy the session, if you like the session, do not forget to like it. And whatever you want to say in the form of comments, you should not hesitate to comment, right? And share if you like it, and subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel so that you will get notifications for such sessions. In today's session, I will do very simple one thing. I'll pick up parajumble questions which have been asked in CAT recently and also in the past, and we will try to solve them. But before that, I will give you an approach as to, okay, this is what we should do to solve the questions, right? So that you will basically not be at a loss. So what is going to happen is we will look at questions which have been asked in CAT 2020. I have picked up some 7-8 questions, and let's see how do we start. So let me quickly tell you about something which is a very big reality. I hope all of you know about this. Parajumbles, as they come in the management entrance exams, they are of generally two types, right? Number one, with options, right? With options, it is actually asked in other management entrance exams. Even in CAT, this used to be the case some time ago, right? It used to be in old CAT, it used to be with answer options. Now, without options, right, is something which as of now it comes only in CAT. Without options, what they give you is, they give you sentences. You have to simply rearrange the sentences and type the sequence. So that is something which is unique to CAT, right? So what is the difference? What do you think is the difference? The only difference is that this one without options will be more time consuming. That is it, right? It will be more time consuming. It will take an extra step than with options. And secondly, if you are not confident, if you're not practiced enough, it can lead to more confusion also, right? So it can be more confusing because there is nothing to eliminate. If you have options, at least you will have some confidence that, okay, this is where I need to start from, right? And this is where I can, and you will have some idea. But if there are no options, it makes it confusing. So two things: it makes it more time consuming, makes it more confusing. That's exactly why in CAT it is not negatively marked. So that is why it is not negatively marked. So we'll have to take it that way. So that is what we should be looking at, right? So all clear, I hope. Okay, so I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. And by the way, today, since we are going to primarily focus on CAT, we are going to look at the second type, that is the questions without options, and they are more challenging. By the way, if you are thorough with questions which are without options, it will be more, if you know how to do this, the other one becomes easier. So let's quickly see what should be our approach, right? Approach, I would rather suggest 2 steps. Of course, from this we can expand and look at many things. First of all, a lot of people, right, see, there are no options to work with, so you have no option but to read the sentences and try to locate the first link. There are 5-6 sentences given, let's say A, B, C, D, E, right? You read all the sentences. Now when you read, you will be able to spot a link. Let's say you spot a link like BC. Okay, now stick with it. Okay, but then stick with it only after you're very sure. Now try to fit the remaining sentences around BC. Okay, D will come here. Okay, it is better to keep E here. Acha, now E fits, A fits in here. So this is the best approach. I hope all of you are clear about what I'm trying to point out. So read the sentences, try to locate the first link, and then fit the remaining sentences around it. So the moment you get this first link, right, this is what is going to be the crucial factor, right? Now, what a lot of people do is something which I should, ask you to avoid. Do not try to find the first sentence, right? A lot of people try to begin by asking what is the first sentence. Right. Now, first sentence and the last sentence, if you search for them, in many cases, you might get it. In some cases, you may not get it. So it is not like you have to locate the first sentence first. Jaruri nahi hai. First, look at 2 sentences, link bana lo, and try to build the remaining sentences around it. I hope all of you are clear about this. Right. Now, there are common clues to link sentences. And by the way, it all depends on how do you link sentences. So let me tell you some common clues. Okay, obvious opening and closing sentences. If there are obvious opening and closing sentences, well, you should accept it. If they are not, we should not be running after them. So that's one thing, right? Okay, one more thing, names and short forms. If you find the name of a person used, next time the name of that person, the same person is used, you will probably write in a shortened form. Winston Churchill, for example, will become Mr. Churchill, right? And short form, for example, if you write about something like, let's say, WHO, right? First you will explain the full form, World Health Organization. Then in the second case, you will write the short form, right? Third thing is pronouns and their antecedents. What are pronouns? Pronouns are basically nothing else but words which replace. So if you replace something with a pronoun, what is going to happen is whatever has been replaced and the pronoun, there should be a link. So when you see pronouns, look for links. Demonstratives, these are also pronouns. These, that, these, this, these, that, those, look for clues. Possessives, these are also pronouns, so watch out for all these, right? Next thing, look for linking words. What are linking words? Linking words are nothing else but words like this. On the other hand, nevertheless, on the contrary. Suppose if you have a sentence like this. Nevertheless, India won the World Cup. If you have a sentence like this, what do you expect before it? You expect something which is opposite or contrary. Otherwise, you will not say nevertheless. This is called linking word, right? But if you have the sentence, the same sentence, consequently, India won the test match. What do you expect before it? What you expect would be things because of which India won the World Cup. So that is the result of these words. So all these words, I have given you as many as I can, but they can be countless. These words act like linking, things, linking sentences, linking what they call ideas. Next, chronology. What is chronology? Sequence in terms of time. If there's any sequence in terms of time, then try to find that. Next, relation between sentences. Like if there's a question and if there's an answer to the question somewhere, connect them. If there's a problem and there's a solution mentioned in that, if there's a problem, if a sentence describes a problem and if you find a solution somewhere in the same sequence, definitely you should try to, connect them. If there's a point and if there's an example, try to connect them, right? Last but not the least, subsequent mention. What is subsequent mention? Subsequent mention is nothing else but something that has already been mentioned, I say it again. So you will know what to build. So eventually what is to be done is link sentences, then try to find the answer, right? So if you like the session, as I was telling you, do not forget to like it. And if you want to say anything, definitely comment, share, and most important, subscribe, right? Now, let's try some questions. What is very simple is, there are some 4 sentences given, and as you can see, this is from CAT 2020. There were 3 such questions asked in CAT 2020, right? You are supposed to rearrange them and form a logical paragraph. Now, where do you begin from? I have already discussed the approach with you. First, read all the 4 sentences. Look for links between individual sentences. First, find the link which you are most confident of, which you're sure of. Then try to put the other 2 sentences around it. I hope it is clear. CAT 2020, take some time, solve it. You should be able to do this in around, around 2-3 minutes. किधर हो गए? हाँ, sorry, there was a slight disturbance. Sorry. Okay, so you have 2 minutes to solve it. Let's see. Let's see, all of you, I hope, can see the questions. Type in your answers. Let's see how it works out. Right. So Reshma is quick with the answer. Reshma thinks the answer should be 3, 1, 2, 4. Okay. Right. What about others? Nikhil also is of the opinion 3, 1, 2, 4. I'll show you the answer quickly. Let's see how it is. So 2 people responded. So quickly, I mean, whatever, and let's see how it is, whether it turns out to be right or wrong. If it is right, fine and good. Otherwise, we have other questions to look at. What is the best answer? Let's see. So only 2 people have responded. I can see there are some people live. Give your responses. Let's see. Right. So okay. So if you notice, is it 3124 or 3142? Only one of you. Okay, Survanil gets the answer correct. So 3-1, you get it correct. So this is the challenge, right? See, several deities were considered to bring good luck and happiness. Okay, right? And it's about good luck and happiness. So obviously, each one personified a different aspect of good fortune. So good fortune, 3-1 is definitely linked. Now what is left is, see, you are through with 3 and 1. Now what is left is sentence 2 and sentence 4. Now, if you look at it very carefully, if you write 2, the others were versions of popular Buddhist gods, Hindu gods and Taoist gods. The others basically means, when you say the, it means it's subsequent mention, which means if you write each one, can I follow each one with the others? No, no. Look at 4. What does 4 say? Although they were included, the moment you say they, you are speaking about all the gods that you have spoken about in 3 and 1. Okay? And they were included, they were indigenous. The contrast is they were actually indigenous, meaning they were all Japanese gods. Right. Now, the others were popular. So, which means when you say others, you are contrasting it with the indigenous. So, the best answer should be 3, 1, 4, 2. I think only one person got it correct. Right. So, that is what we have to be careful about. Everybody got the answer? Right. Now, let's look at the next question. This question, which I'm actually showing it to you now, this is again from CAT 2020. I hope all of you would be able to solve it. Take some time. This will, so if you notice, the first question, it looks simple, but it is not that simple, right? So I mean, it can be confusing. So let's see. Right, so this is the next question. As I was telling you, this can be confusing, and this one is more challenging than the previous one, especially because the sentences are slightly on the longer side. Take 2 minutes and let's see. Right. I hope all of you are clear about this. Let's see. Read the sentences carefully, and if you notice, this question will probably take a little bit longer than the earlier one. Right. Now, be very careful. If you notice, look at this it. What does this it advocated? What will advocate this conservative approach? Try to find that. It should be the first starting point. The moment you find the starting point, others you can actually try to build it around. What would be the answer? It's been 3 minutes. I hope everybody is responding. I mean, as you can see, this is from CAT 2020, right? This is what you see as type in the answers. Type in the answers. Okay, so Sovereignil is the first to respond. Let's see, I'll confirm the answer very soon. Okay, so two more people have also responded. So more or less everybody is sure about the fact that 4 will come first, right? Now, so let's see. Right, so anybody else who's yet to respond? See, let me tell you one thing. In such questions, right, you need to have a lot of practice. If you do not have practice, well, it cannot be, you cannot even decide whether you know this or not know this, right? So try it out here. Here, it's not an exam. I mean, you're not going to be, you're not going to lose anything. So nothing wrong, right? Let's see what should be the best answer. The best answer is 4, 1, 2, 3, right? So 4, 1, 2, 3, two of you got it correct. See, if you notice, first of all, 4 and 1, when you say it advocated, what advocated this conservative approach? This and this it is nothing else but the Chicago school. So 4, 1. Now, what is left is sentence 2 and 3. Now, I just have to find out what will follow 1. If you look at, okay, one of you is saying now that should be 4, 1, 3, 2. Now, think about it. After 1, if I write 3, what does 1 speak about? 1 speaks about adopting a conservative approach, right? Now, conservative approach to what? To antitrust enforcement that espouses faith in efficient markets and voice suspicion regarding the merits of judicial intervention to correct anti-competitive practices. Now, if you notice right after this, if I say that the new anti-competitive risks posed by, now if I write 3 afterwards, just because of the word anti-competitive, I would be wrong, right? Think of this. What is anti-competitive practice is explained in 2, right? So many industries, when you say tech giants like Google, Facebook, Amazon, right? So these are basically the examples of many industries that have, when you say consistently gain the market share, it is basically nothing else but anti-competitive practices. So anti-competitive practices is mentioned here in 1. In 2, you actually set the background as to how many industries do it. And in sentence 3, you speak about the actual names. So 4, 1, 2, 3 is the best answer. All clear? Now, this is what we have to be careful about. So this question is not really that easy. So 4, 1, most people gets it. Most people will get it. So what is difficult is that, and that is exactly why in the exam in CAT, they do not give you negative marking for this. So the key here is, you should be basically looking at the questions and solving it. And yes, do not waste a lot of time on this, right? Because I mean, do not waste a lot of time in the sense that if you get it correct, well, it is fine. Otherwise, there's no negative marking, right? But having said this, I cannot take it lightly. Now, be very careful. Next question is this. This you can see again is from CAT 2020. Now, do you remember there was a point which I discussed to you or discussed in the beginning about linking sentences as to how when you have this something like CNS, right? Now, CNS, what is this CNS? It is mentioned here, the central nervous system. So एक चीज तो बहुत clear है, one cannot come before four. Four will have to come before one. And if you notice the exaptation concept, what is this exaptation concept? De-exaptation concept. When you say de-exaptation concept, you have already mentioned it before. That means before four there should be some other sentence. Look at the clues which I gave you. Remember, this is the exaptation concept. This is subsequent mention, and central nervous system, long form, and this is the short form. So these are clues which I have already discussed with you. Okay, what should be the answer? Nishima 2341 is what you think. Let's see. Let's wait for others to respond also. I hope all of you are giving it your best shot. As you can see, this is actually what happens in CAT, and I've picked up the latest, as in the latest ones, as in CAT 2020. Nishima, are you sure it is 2341? What about the others? Nobody has responded so far. I hope all of you are giving it your best shot. As I was telling you, in these questions, you will have to, you will have to respond. You will have to give your responses. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to, it will be very difficult to understand whether you are, you know, in the thick of things or not, right? Let me quickly show you the answer, right? I hope all of you are doing it. All of you have done it. Right, so many people have answered. Let's see, what should be the answer. Let's see. The answer to this is 2431. 2431. Nobody got it correct. 2431. देखो, एक चीज तो काफी clear है, right? 2431 is basically that. देखो, when I say that the central nervous system is there and CNS comes, it does not mean that right after 4 1 should come. जरूरी नहीं है. The only thing which I told you was that 1 cannot come before 4. Right. Does it mean that 1 should come directly after 4? Not necessarily. We should have read the sentences carefully. So the answer should be, okay, sovereignil probably came very close. You probably were misled by the clue which I gave you. But then we should be, we should understand the clue to its complete extent. Right. What I said was 1 cannot come before 4. But that does not mean that 4 has to be directly followed by 1. So 2431 should be the correct answer. Let's see. See, echolocation, this is the point where you actually introduce this concept called exaptation. So that is 2. Right. Now, and this exaptation concept is something which is continued in sentence 4. So this is the first clue which I get, 2, 4. Okay. So exaptation, if you notice, echolocation exemplifies adaptation produced by natural selection. A function not produced by natural selection for its current use is exaptation, right? So he is telling you what is exaptation. The exaptation concept, you continue this. So 2 and 4 are connected. Now, after this, should I write 2? So 2 and 4 is done. After this, should I write 3 or should I write 1? Right. Now, if you notice, after this, right, if you write 1 straight away, complex computational elements of CNS are organized to a nested hierarchic criterion. Now, the problem with this is, if I write 1 right after 4, the problem with this is from a structural, okay, here in sentence 3, what we are actually speaking about is how this concept of exaptation, right? So consistent with this, how does it actually happen in living organisms is what is actually given in 3. So 3 should come here and 1 should come in the end. This is not at all this is quite dicey. In the exam, ideally, you should have actually not spent a lot of time on this. Now, do one thing. This is something which is confusing, I know. Let's try one more question and see. And let me tell you, this is also a CAT question, but CAT 2004 or 5, I'm not really sure. Old one, what I have done is, I have taken away the answer options. I have taken away the answer options, and I have made it a little bit, so that way it can be a little bit confusing. So let's see. Look for the clues, right? Look for the clues when you say besides additional information. And when you ask a question with how can then, it's almost like an afterthought. अगर ऐसा है तो हम ये क्यों कर सकते हैं? That's the meaning of how can then he be selected? तो it's almost like a rhetorical question. अगर ऐसा है तो क्यों कर सकते? तो ऐसा है जो है वो कहीं और सेंटेंस में मिलेगा. Let's see. Let's try looking at this question. Let's see. I hope all of you can understand. All of you are, in full, let's say, in full focus. All of you can understand it, I hope. Right. Let's see. This question, probably I should help you out, and because sometimes the approach can be a little bit confusing. If you notice, if you read all the sentences, right, what you will find. Okay, some of you are probably going to respond, so let me wait for your responses before I tell you the clues. Right. The clues are, I have already told you two. And by the way, when you say misnomer means a false name. And this war against terror is something which is introduced in sentence 3. So is it not slightly clear? Is it not more or less sure that sentence 3 should be right at the beginning? If you find that, it becomes easier. Right. Otherwise, if you can find another clue, you can definitely take that as a starting point and build the other sentences around that also. And if you notice, this war, kaun si war? So dubious means questionable. So this is more like you are questioning the concept of war, right? So the questioning of the concept of the war begins in 2. I hope all of you are clear. Nobody has responded. I simply hope that the screen is not frozen. In many times, in many cases, I cannot, your responses do not come to me in time, right? Well, that is not the case, I think. Okay. Right, so what should be the answer? Let me quickly show you the answer. The answer to this question is 35241. Right, so Nigam was the first to respond. Nigam, okay, well, 3 देखो 1 second. How can then if you place 5 in the end, it becomes a big issue. Let's see why. देखो, 3 is the starting. Okay, even if I do not know 3 is the starting, right? One thing which I found definitely is the relation between 5 and 2. Think about this. Terror is a phenomenon. It is not an entity. If this is the case, then how can you have war against terror? So terror is a phenomenon. So in that case, how can you have a war against the phenomenon? So 5 and 2 are very distinctly connected. Right, and you also know that sentence 3 introduces, so 3, 5, 2. So now we are through with 3, 5, and 2. Now what is left is sentence 4 and sentence 1. Now if you look at sentence 2, how can then one characterize a conflict to be waged against the phenomenon as war? So you are questioning this concept. How can you have war against phenomenon, right? And do you not continue in the same way? The line of questioning that 2 employs is continued in 4. Right. Besides, war has a certain meaning and imbuing them with the humanitarian content. Right. So war has a certain codified, there are certain rules that we follow. Right. So in this background, this war has a dubious legality. So again, 4 and 1 are also connected. I hope all of you are getting the point. Only Nigam was responding. Others, I hope you are still, interested enough. I hope others are still, hooked on enough. Right. Anyway, let's do one thing. This is getting long. I will give you another question and let this be the last one. I understand that things can stretch after a certain time. What is more important is, see, all of us know that in CAT, questions, parajumble questions are asked without answer options. Now, You can find parajumbles in almost every cat. So what you can do is, even if they are with answer options, you just remove them in practice. So that should be more than enough, right? This question will be the last one, and there has been hardly any response from any one of you. I hope you are still solving it, and I hope all of you are able to understand. Approach जो है वो जरूरी है. What is important here is beginning first sentence को पहले ढूंढना जरूरी नहीं है, right? Look for links between or among sentences, right? And clues देखो, ये देखो for example ये they कौन है, ठीक है? And ये therefore मतलब इस सेंटेंस से पहले बिफोर सेंटेंस 5 there should be something which tells us हम ट्रैक क्यों करेंगे, राइट? तभी तो देयरफॉर, वी देयरफॉर ट्रैक्ड, मतलब मैं ट्रैक क्यों करूं, पहले मेंशन करो, ठीक है? एंड दे क्या है, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट इट विल बी क्वाइट क्लियर, ठीक है, राइट? सो रीड द सेंटेंसेस फर्स्ट एंड लेट्स सी. दिस इज कैट 2004 if I'm not wrong, right? I am giving you this because I'm giving this question to you because without answer options it's very confusing. I mean there's a lot of twists and turns, but if you understand therefore track, हम ट्रैक क्यों करेंगे उसको पहले रख दो, ठीक है? Then they pushed कौन है, देखो, that will basically help you understand that, ठीक है? Okay, I do not know whether you are responding, trying it out on your own or not, right? Do not get it worried. Do not worry if it goes wrong. Let me show you. देखो, let me show. देखो, I am not starting with the first. Let's see. How do I do? Let's see. The two neighbors never fought each other. They pushed. Who is this they? The two neighbors. So let's do one thing. First thing which I get is 1 and 3. They pushed or grappled only with the intruder. They never fought each other. They pushed or grappled only with the intruder. Okay, one more thing. ठीक है, right? Now, one more thing which I find is fights involving 3 fiddler crabs have been known, but the status was unknown. That is why I tracked it. So another clue which I find is 2 and 5. ठीक है, 2 and 5 is one more clue. I mean I'm keeping them apart because I do not know what will come first. ठीक है. Now, after tracking, we recorded 17 cases in which a resident was joined by an immediate neighbor and ally. Now, so after tracking comes the result of recording. Now, if you notice, 254 is something which best comes in the beginning. So, best answer is 25413. Do you agree with this? 25413. So that should be the answer, right? 25413 should be the answer. Did you notice how I did it? फर्स्ट मुझे लगा अच्छा 1 and 3 है, 2 and 5 भी था. अब उसके बाद मुझे लगा कि ओके ट्रैक किया, ट्रैक करने के बाद रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, ठीक है? एंड जब रिकॉर्ड किया, you know what happened was, in which a resident was, the fight started. So from this you can, the 2 neighbors fighting each other, pushing, this is basically a result of that, all the things that we are doing, ठीक है? निगम, okay, देखो, let's do it again. Let's take it again. If you want, I'll explain it again. No problem. देखो, let's approach it with a clean slate of mind, right? Let's not look at the answer options. देखो, the 2 neighbors never fought each other. They pushed or grappled. The first thing which I found was 1 and 3. Nothing wrong. बाकी और क्या है, right? So we are speaking about a certain result. So the 2 neighbors. Even when you say the 2 neighbors, it's subsequent mention. ठीक है, right? Now, one more thing which I found was that we therefore tracked. Why would I track? I tracked because the status of the participants was unknown. That means I will write 2 before 5, right? I am tracking them because, I mean, we therefore, I never, the fighting has been involved, but we do not know who are the fighters. So we track them to find out who are the fighters. Okay, 2, 5. Now, after tracking, you come with the sense of recording, and look at what do you record. There was 17 cases in which a resident was fighting an intruder, was joined by an immediate neighbor and ally. So the neighbor was an ally. That means sentence 1 began with the 2 neighbors never fought each other. Does it not go in sync with the fact that the neighbor was an ally? So now 1 and 3 को यहाँ place कर दो. So that was the answer. Everybody is clear? Nigam, you asked, that is why I repeated. Is this clear? Right, so that is what we have to be doing, right? So do one thing, we will end it here. If you like the session, just like it, and whatever comments you want to share, definitely do that. More importantly, if you enjoyed the session, why don't you share it with others, and subscribe with subscribe so that you get notifications. And if abhi tak to you must have understood one thing, that is these questions depend on practice, right? So we will have regular sessions like this. So if you subscribe, if you already subscribe to this Gradeup channel, you will definitely get notifications in advance, so that way you will not miss out anything, right? Okay. निगम, यस, पेयरिंग वर्क ऑलवेज। पेयरिंग देखो निगम, पेयरिंग जो है अगर वो सॉलिड है तो वर्क करता है, ठीक है। कई बार अगर पेयरिंग का जो लॉजिक है वो सॉलिड नहीं है, इट विल नॉट वर्क। व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज यू शुड बी, इट शुड बी अ वेरी थरो काइंड ऑफ अ case, right? So Sovereign, how much practice should I do to perfect? Dekho, practice, it should be like this. First of all, start from the easier ones. Start with cat, older ones. Start with IFT, right? And dhire after some time remove the answer options and come to the theta. So that is more challenging. So it's an eventual step-by-step process. If required, Parajumble is something like every 2 or 3 days you should solve at least 5, 6 questions every 2 or 3 days. Doing it every day can become very taxing, right? So every 3 days, that means twice a week, if you do 5 to 10 questions at each sitting, it will definitely improve, because we know that this question is going to be asked, right? So if you subscribe to Gradeup, you will get access to all the running and upcoming subscription is basically what you need to if you buy the subscription, these are the benefits, right? And if you have, all of you know that you do not need to buy if you're subscribed to Gradeup, as in if you buy the subscription, you will not the app, that is different, right? So not the channel, that is different. So idea here is if you do that, you will be having access to all the courses which are running. You do not need to buy separately, right? And glad 2021, there's a full course. If you notice, the lowest price ever, 18-month subscription till this. That means you will be able to watch, you will have access to every course related to MBA till March 2022, and the MRP for this is 17, as you can see, right? So the course has started. The features of the course are very simple. I mean, 300 plus live interactive classes. These are the PDFs that you will get. These are the practice questions, and you will have 80 plus mocks and sectional tests, right? So these are the people who will be taking your classes. You can see, I mean, each person is an expert in his or her own field, right? And you can definitely do that, right? Okay. Dekho, Neshima, let me tell you, I think you are a little bit confused with this subscription thing. Let me tell you, Dekho, I was talking about if you have the app, if you're watching it on the app, right, the free classes you will be able to watch. For example, today's class is something which is for everybody. You can watch it. But if you want to watch, if you want to, let's say, be a part of a certain course, right, a course would be a complete module. That complete module, for that you will have to buy subscription. So that subscription is different. What I was talking to, the other word subscription is basically, I was appealing to the YouTube, watchers. For example, in YouTube, you have the channel, you subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the YouTube channel is different from buying subscription in Gradeup. So that was the confusion. But Nishima, by the way, I hope it answers your question. If you are on the app, and if you have the app, and if you download it, and you can watch the sessions which are available to everybody. Complete courses are a different story. Hope it answers your question, right? For example, today's session is open for everybody. Everybody can watch it, provided you have the app, or you can watch it on YouTube also, right? So that is it. We will end it here. Have a good night, everybody. I'll keep on meeting you at regular intervals according to the schedule, and we will take up different topics like this, and that way we will hope to help everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.